What's up everybody, Pete with Auto Repair Tips. In this video, I got an 05 Cadillac DeVille with a 4.6 engine. The customer brought me the car with a list of complaints. Let's check it out. He says first off, he's got an oil leak. He wants a tune-up, the check engine lights on. There's some kind of rubber in the truck that's messed up, and check the transmission fluid. I drove the car in. When I drove it in, I felt a real bad miss in the engine. So that's probably why it's check engine light on. But I'm gonna throw the scanner on it anyway and make sure it's not anything else. It's just a misfire, and we'll see what cylinder's misfiring and what's wrong with it. As of the oil leak, he said it's been leaking pretty bad for a while, and what I'll probably do in that case is make sure the oil's topped off. I'll put some cardboard underneath it, I'll run it and look for any drips. But let's go ahead and get that scanner hooked up first, and let's check out that code. Code scan. Let's do a pre-scan. Let's check all the modules and see what's going on. Got the map sensor code is out of range. The TPS is out of range. Fuel system's too lean. Too lean. Idle control is too high. And the transmission fluid. Let's see. I was going to say I didn't see it at first. I would have bet money that had a misfire where everything was running. Tell you what we're going to do first. Let's start with the misfire. Let's go ahead and hit smart data. Let me start the car real quick. This thing has got misfires on every damn cylinder. Misfire 2, 4, 6, 8. Quite a few of these aren't even hitting at all. I think the next thing we'll do is let me go ahead and let's get to the plugs and the wires or coil packs, whatever's on this car, and let's take a look at them. Somebody's already been in here. Huh. That was way too loose. Look at this. This is already loose. Somebody's just recently been in here because this is loose. The cover was just laying there. It wasn't even on. And these coil packs, they look fairly new. I can feel the injectors hitting. I hear something loose inside here. Something's rattling. All the injectors are definitely hitting. There's no issues. But every once in a while I can hear something like inside the intake. So let's take a second, let's compare the cylinders on the first bank and let's see what the readings look like. I just moved to the next cylinder and just about the same actually. Let's go to the next cylinder. Let's go to the next cylinder. Looking at it, everyone is about the same. And I keep hearing it sounds like something loose inside here. It's almost like a vacuum leak somewhere. Tell you what, let me do some reading on this, regroup a little bit, and I'll come back and I'll explain to you what I've done and what direction we're going to go in. Fuel trim bank 1 is 31. Fuel trim bank 2 is 24. Look at the O2s real quick and see what they're doing over here. Looks like O2 bank 1, the millivolts is 15. Bank 2 sensor 1, 15. Looking at the O2 sensors, the readings look extremely low. I'm gonna stop on the gas off and on and watch what happens when I do. See how they increase up and they immediately go all the way down to like nothing. It's almost, and the way this engine is running, I keep leaning back towards that intake. It's either leaking or something's messed up inside. I think air is being introduced into the system, causing a lot of this misfire. Again, I kept saying there's something wrong with this intake. I could just feel like it's sucking air somewhere, and that's why you have the readings in the O2s like you do. So check this out right here. I think I see some of the gasket, but watch what happens when I squirt. Watch the engine smooth out. Y'all see that? When I squirt right here, see the engine increase like that? What we've got a leaking intake gasket. Because my gut kept telling me all along, like I was been saying through the whole video, it's something not right with that intake. I could just hear something, and something wasn't right. So I squirted a little brake clean down in there, and you can hear immediately the RPMs in the engine change. It raised up and smoothed right out. So that just tells me right there that we definitely have a bad intake gasket. When I get it off, I'll examine the intake to make sure it's not cracked. All right, I got the parts order. While I'm waiting, we'll go ahead and get this intake off. When you're working on an older car like this, you can almost guarantee you're gonna strip something. Something's gonna break, something's gonna strip. It's just what happens. You try not to let it happen, but it just does. You know, I guess if you're doing this, it's your preference. I don't think there's a right or wrong. If you want to leave the injectors in or take them loose and lay it this way, I'm leaving them in because I never like mess with the seals. You know, I don't want to have to worry about injector seals leaking. But if you're at home and you don't have the tool to take the O-ring, to disconnect it right here, perfectly fine to do that. What I don't like are these little plastic lines. When they're new, they're fine, especially on a Ford. Oh my God, there's a million of them. All they want to do is break as they get older. I'm gonna take this one off all the way. You know, I've been saying all along, it seems like somebody's been in here. I mean, like, look at the clip right here. That's already off. That's just laying there. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and get this undone here, these fuel lines. Why would you put that brace right there? Hey, come on, man. Okay. I guess I probably should have relieved the pressure first, huh? Looks like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 millimeters, and we should get it right on out. I'm just going to use a 10 swivel, get down in here and break them all loose. So there is definitely no way around it. We actually have to take the injectors out. So I was hoping I could do it without getting that one bolt, but that one bolt is why you have to take those injectors off. But when we go back with it, I'll show you a trick. Down with it. Pop it up, easy, very gingerly. And the rail comes out like that. Like I said, that bolt is located right under here. It's the one right there, and I was hoping I could do it the other way. Would not have thought they'd make you do that. So we are loose. So I got it all loose. You're supposed to do like an upward lifting motion on it. It's just hung up right here a little bit. So we're doing upward and lifting, right? Upward and lifting. And it comes out. A little bit of a positive reinforcement there with the, I'm not, ooh. So check this out, that's where your starter is on this car here. I never really paid no mind to it. Didn't even think about it. That looks like a fun job, don't it? This gasket's pretty good. Oh, hold on a second. This gasket's ripped too. Look, right here. See, these are things you want to look for when you're doing these jobs. This is also a cause, and if I got it all back together, this would be a misfire. Look right there. Right here on the back side. See my finger coming through? So we need to get one of these too. You need to always make sure you pay attention when you're doing these. Always look for other odds and ends and different things. And those bolts, to put that on there, it's behind this plate. They're on this side of the intake, so I'm gonna have to go down there and get those bolts out. Not a biggie though, we got it covered, we can do that. Clean it off, and we're gonna get all this trash out of here too for the guy. These are your knock sensors. And if you remember, this is where it was leaking at. Let's take a second and let's look at the gasket where it was. This is how it came out, just like this. So it had this dirt and debris underneath it right there, which means it was sucking something there. And this is where it was pulling through at right here. You can actually see where it's flattened out. All right, we just got the parts in. They're a Dorman 911010. They came from O'Reilly's Auto Parts. O'Reilly is not a sponsor of this video. They just sold me the part. And this is what you get. You get the O-rings for your intake, and you get this seal here. And this is what's, like I was showing you earlier, what was kind of jacked up on this one here is ripped in the middle there. It's held on with 3 screws, and just like this, you put it on. It does come with a metal bracket on there, which is pretty convenient. And to get this bracket off, it's held off with 3 tins in the rear. We look good there. We look good there. We just look good in general. The rest of this is just reverse procedure, so I'm not going to show you that. But when I get it back together, we'll get the scanner on it, and we'll look at those readings. If you remember, the O2 readings were sitting like right at, I think it was 15. And when I romped the gas, they jacked up. They went all the way up like they should. But the 15 is extremely lean, and that's because of the hole that was here and the intake leaking real bad. That number should be higher when I get it back together. There's a couple of things I want to point out. When you're installing the intake, it's 89 inch-pounds of torque, and you want to do it in a crisscrossing pattern. So you'll start here. Now after you get it snug, go back with your torque wrench and put it on 89 inch-pounds. Make sure you use a crisscrossing pattern when you're doing it. Because if you over torque it, you'll push the gasket out. And after I get them all tight, and I know they're correct, I just go down the line just to verify it. I told you I'm gonna tell you a trick about putting your injectors back in. You'll take some brake clean. You're gonna clean off the rubbers really good. I already made sure that the holes in there are clean. And we'll get some silicone. I call it silicone, but it's an internal lube. This is the product that I use. And I put a little bit on the O-rings and just set it in place. Again, like I said, I've already cleaned it out and I've already cleaned off the O-rings. But I just put a little bit in my hand. That's all you gotta do. Line it up and you'll push it down just nice and easy. Lightly push it in place. Just tap it in just like that. Good to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to engine. I'm going to go to code menu, display codes, all powertrain codes. Look at what I have. All right, we're going to go back one. I'm going to clear the codes. After I clear the codes, I'm going to start it up, see if any codes come back. So display codes, should be nothing in there now. Transmission fluid, okay, not a big deal. So let's go to, before I start it, let's go to data display. Go to sensor data. We're going to customize this list. I'm not looking at so many. We're going to deselect all. We want to go to O2, 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 O2. And we'll look at everything with O2s. We're going to view the list. Okay, let's start it up and let's see what we got. So if you can remember before, these were stuck at 15. The only way I got in the move was I was romping on the gas, and that dumped extra fuel into the system and it caused a rich condition, and then they would move. But when I started to go back to 15, I immediately looked and I immediately thought, okay, it's got to have a major vacuum leak somewhere to cause that lean condition. So that's why I started doing what I did. But we're looking good here. Let's go check outside the car. Looking at it now, it's nice and smooth. If you remember before, it was bouncing all around. It was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But we are looking good. I don't see anything leaking, anything out of the ordinary. Everything looks good. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Catch you later.